So 6 wins in a row. You just gave me a list of things you need to do better moving forward. But how did the team get better tonight?
We found a way to persevere. Different obstacles, different challenges, trying their hardest to hold us back. But we didn't budge. And as a team, I think we had each other's backs. There was never a shadow of doubt. When you got guys that can step up and make plays at any moment, you just have to have faith in that, have faith in the work. We enjoy this little mini bye.
That's what you just got to do. When a reporter or a sideline person like Kaylee Hartung asks you, how did you do it? How did you do it? And you don't really have an answer. It's just like, in reality, you just outplayed your opponent. But right. You have to give an answer. You just say, well, we persevered. And what can you say? Because they did in a lot of ways, because they were down, the Philadelphia Eagles, at halftime on Thursday Night Football, but then they took absolute control in 23 consecutive points control of this big NFC East showdown on the way to a 26-18 win over the Washington Commanders, who have suddenly cooled off as the competition has heated up. Dan Hanzus here with Marc Sessler, with the Gravedigger on the ones and twos. It's a big night for the Eagles, Mark, and I talked about it in the preview, is that I hadn't been overly impressed with their schedule of opponents and their victories. And even though this is a home game, and you could say, well, yeah, they should win this game. Nah, I'm going to give the Eagles their flowers, and Eagles fans can hear me as I say this. It was a very nice win for Philadelphia, who overcame a terrible day from their kicker. They badly outgained the Commanders 434 to 264 in yardage. Another monster Saquon Barkley effort. And all the most important ways, including the final score, are the superior team and obviously the heavy favorite to win the NFC East. So kudos to the Eagles, Sessdog.
Yeah, I think there's maybe because most of my discussing football happens on this show. I mean, if not 98% of it, that there seems to be a feeling around the Eagles where they're like we've been a little annoyed by them, some of their coaching decisions, the Nick Sirianni factor, the whole thing. And there was a trick play tonight that was an absolute disaster that seemed like it could have been at one point like the unspooling of another disaster for the Eagles. But instead, I think they're much better than we thought, even if nobody wants it. Like right now, I was taking a look at my power rankings early because I'm very professional. But I would put them. I'd put them up at number 3, to be honest. Like I really would at this point. I think their star power when they flex their muscles reflects that, and the way that they were dominant down the stretch. And I think Saquon Barkley is an MVP candidate. When they play well and they don't get in their own way with poor decision making, they can blow people up. And I think that we're just looking at a Washington team that was very efficient. I think they only had 4 turnovers coming into this game, and so that's helped. But Washington is growing, and the Eagles right now are a team that had 10 wins before they had 2 losses a year ago, and they look like that team again right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So let me ask you something, because I think you've been not that I've jumped on some sort of Eagles bandwagon, but I do see a team that could pretty much hang with anyone.
Of course. I'm not saying they can't do that, but first, power rankings, I'm a veteran, you're a novice. Like putting who you decide who's in the top 3 of the power rankings when nobody else has played this week. I mean, that's a classic rookie move there, Sessdog.
Well, for now,
because we need to see.
I would adjust it, but
here, my personal power rankings entering week 11: Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills, Commanders, Eagles. So I had the Eagles at 6. Obviously, they leapfrogged the Commanders, but those 4 teams, the 3 teams in the AFC. And in the, of course, the Lions, to me, so far, what I've seen this season is I put those teams above the Eagles. But we've reached a point now where, the Eagles are deserving of respect. They've won 6 games in a row. I still think that overall the schedule has been soft, and I think they've caught Washington now when they've been on kind of the downslope a little bit. And I'm very interested to see what happens to the Commanders now as we head to the into the final half of the regular season. Because remember, this is a Commanders team that has turned heads and excited all of us with the play of Jayden Daniels, this unbelievable rookie quarterback, and this revitalized Cliff Kingsbury narrative. And the other Cliff Kingsbury narrative is that Kingsbury teams get figured out in the second half. So if I'm a Commanders fan, am I a little bit nervous right now that when the schedule stiffened up and I got Pittsburgh and Philly over a 5-day stretch or a 4-day stretch, insane the way the schedule is, that they kind of stiffed in both spots? Yes, that's concerning to me. So I'm not taking it away from the Eagles, but I wonder where are the Commanders now. This doesn't feel like the Commanders that were the world beaters of a few weeks back, but at the same time, like, the reason they didn't look like world beaters is because Philadelphia is really humming on defense. They absolutely dominated in the trenches in this game. We know their linebacker play has been excellent. They have these great young players in their secondary that make plays every week. This is a good stat from Next Gen Stats, Mark, that Terry McLaurin, who's had a big time year, obviously every week he's made plays until this week with Quinion Mitchell on him. 20 routes, no targets. I mean, and then Jayden Daniels for the second straight week. And I really think that the rib injury, before I bury Cliff Kingsbury or call the Commanders flukes, you could kind of put a dividing line when Jayden Daniels hurt his rib, and he's been a different player since. And that's another thing to keep an eye on. And now they have a mini bye here to figure some things out. Obviously, here's a little tweet from James Palmer, our buddy, the underdog stud. I was told pregame that Jayden Daniels is really showing how tough he is, and he's battling through this rib injury. Have to wonder how much it's impacting him. Yeah, Mark, he hasn't been the same explosive player since he hurt the rib, and the Eagles really took advantage of that. He's just not making the plays that he was.
Yeah, and I think this is that was a nice soundbite by Justin, the Vic Fangio soundbite. This was a Fangio game, and I think this defense, and they talked about the fact that it's a younger group of core players that are open to his teaching, and I agree with you on the rib injury. I wonder what's going on there because it does seem like that affected the second catch by a wide receiver for the Commanders tonight happened with 10 minutes to go in the game. So it's like you're not getting Terry McLaurin involved the way that you were earlier on, and that's a different type of offense. The Eagles, to me, like it's an Eagles story more than a Commanders one, though, because
Scary Terry. Cara got married.
This is just Justin taking it. Justin, at this, it's late at night on the West Coast, and Justin's just gonna go. He's a radio DJ from a college radio station. But you overcome two missed field goals, a missed extra point. You overcome
That's a
lot.
problem, by the way.
Well, I don't know if that's a game-by-game thing. Because that's Jake Elliott's a good kicker, but that was an issue tonight. But for them to not have that be the narrative, that by the end they were dominant. You have a dominant running back, and I do think if the Eagles, they kind of remind me of the team. I'm not saying entirely, but when they went to the Super Bowl, what happened with them, that running game took over contests in the fourth quarter. It just took over with power and might. And we saw that tonight. They have that kind of running back. So that's a scary team if they can win games that way, if they get into that position. And they're clearly a step up above their division opponent. I think it's a big night for that reason, that this is the best team in the division.
Yeah,
Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's a winner. He wins.
Dan, talk to Justin, please.
We're going to be having a post-show conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, the Eagles shut out in the first quarter, field goal in the second quarter, field goal in the third quarter. They have 6 points entering the fourth quarter. Right. However, this was a dam that broke, and it happens quickly in this game and gets away from the Commanders in that way. So let's talk about it. So let's go through the play-by-play here. It's a 10-6 game after Jake Elliott finally makes a field goal, 5:32 in the third quarter. And then they drive down the field, the Eagles, in the fourth quarter. They get the 1-yard touchdown rush from Hurts. Elliott pulls the PAT. And the reason I say that's a problem, like usually when a kicker starts to, shit the bed, you just get rid of him. But when you have a kicker, same thing what's going on in Atlanta with Younghoe Koo. When the kicker has a track record, you're kind of held hostage a little bit because you don't want to do anything rash. Right. You have to kind of ride it out, but you're also trying to win a Super Bowl, and every game is so important. So you're just praying and hoping that he shakes it, and he made some kicks at the end of this game that's important. But anyway, so it's after the Hurts touchdown, it's 12-10, and Washington takes over. They go down the field. They get it into Philadelphia territory, and they decide on 4th and 2 in field goal range. Instead of kicking the field goal that could put them ahead by a point, they decide to go for it. It's a doomed play from the start where it's not a clean exchange, center to QB. Daniels gets wrapped up and sent to the ground, and then before you know it, it's bang, Barkley, 23-yard touchdown rush. Interception by Daniels. Bang, Saquon Barkley, 39-yard touchdown rush. And it goes from 12-10 Philly to 26-10 Philly in 8 minutes of game time, and it all of a sudden was over. So it was a closer game that maybe, and I know they put some lipstick on the pig Washington to get it back to an 8-point deficit, but the game got away from Washington quickly. And to Philadelphia, when you look at, like I said, with the team stats, they dominated this game. They 434 to 264 total yards, time of possession 33 to 26. They did not turn the ball over, and Saquon Barkley, as you said, is at the center of everything. 26 for 146, the 2 backbreaking touchdowns in the fourth quarter, 198 yards total, and you started to hear it, Mark, starting to build again on Twitter. Like, can a running back be an MVP? I don't know. It doesn't really happen. Does he deserve to be in the conversation? Absolutely. Barkley, week after week after week, is making the Giants look more and more foolish. And the Eagles and their fans are just loving it.
I don't think he'd be doing this with the New York Giants. That would be my one.
We're a Tiffany franchise.
It's okay. It's a counter argument to.
Justin,
like,
you can sit a couple plays out. It's good. It's okay. Just take a break, bud.
Justin, go take a smoke
bit
break.
at this point. It's an intentional bit.
I just don't think
Mark.
I don't think he'd be doing this with the Giants. I think this situation is an Eagles centric scenario where it's their offensive line, it's the function of the rest of their offense. He leads to my point about how if you get them a lead, once the game got out of hand, they are able to drop a hammer. He leads the NFL in explosive runs in the second half of games this season, and by a lot. And I do think he's an MVP candidate in the sense that I'd throw Joe Burrow in there. You got Josh Allen. Mahomes will get in that conversation.
Wait, you have Joe Burrow as an MVP candidate, and you've tried to fork the Bengals twice in 3 weeks?
Sort of. I am hearing
That's
other
wild.
people call him about him that way. I think he's more like an Archie Manning a little bit on a team with a bad defense. But yes, you're right. But it's okay. See, I said that during the daytime. Now it's night, so I can counter my own opinions from the daytime. But I think Burrow is playing that well. But there aren't there isn't an absolutely overt quarterback candidate that is blowing people out of the water in the sense that Barkley may have an avenue, but I don't think he'll win it just
Lamar.
because of the position.
It's Lamar. If
That's
something
fine.
were to happen to Lamar, or whether it's injury or a bad slump, the door opens. But
what if Lamar loses to the Steelers on Sunday and then they finish with 10 wins? Does that matter?
Because it would take. He would have to kind of crater in the second half because it's a quarterback award. But we talk about a narrative. The narrative in place around Saquon is not only is he playing the best football of his career, he's doing it for the rival of the team that drafted him and all the drama that comes with that. For instance, when Barkley came up and he was, I think even right now as we're recording this, he was at the dais with the Amazon crew, and the Eagles fans there are chanting, "Thank you, Giants." This is absolutely, and I don't have a ton of sympathy for Giants fans because as a Jets fan, I think about all the great things that Giants fans have had, but this is absolutely the worst possible situation for the Giants and their fans, and the best possible situation for the Eagles and their fans, because Philadelphia and New York, it's oil and water. And this is every week punctuating what a horrific decision the Giants made and what an incredible decision the Eagles made. And I'm with you. Like, I don't think Barkley wins MVP, but like, it's not the fault of Barkley. It's the way it's set up. And quite frankly, Lamar has been so awesome this year that it's hard to look the other way. But who's been more important to their team, to have this old conversation, Mark? Like, where would the Eagles be right now without Saquon Barkley? Because to me, they're probably a 5-5 team.
Yeah. Yep.
Something like
that. And you're right. I think Lamar, you're right. Like, I'm just mentally cycling through these quarterbacks. But like, Lamar is someone that's about to win, potentially probably going to win his third MVP, which puts him in very rare territory in the history of the NFL. And so that probably will happen. But Barkley deserves just consideration for the fact that, like, when we talk about someone that changed the team that he was on that season, he is that person in every possible way. Much more than Al Michaels, who I thought at the end of this broadcast tonight was basically kind of writing off society. Like, I think he was sort of saying goodbye to society. Like, he just could not. I'm at the point where I just enjoy listening to him because he just, it's not cynicism. I don't know what I describe it as. Just a dismissiveness of everything that we as humans have set up in our civic world. He just sort of is saying goodbye to. Like, am I wrong? Like, it just.
Do you have an example?
Oh God, what was he saying? Like,
because I
know what it is. Because I think
I always sit out this anti-Al stuff because
it's not even
I know Al is throwing. I'm not saying you're anti-Al. I'm saying I know full well that peak Al was throwing 98 to 101 with like a nasty hook and a wipeout slider. Like, I know that, and I know the Al of today, he throws about 88, and he doesn't really even throw the slider anymore. He's got a little cutter and a changeup he messes with, and he kind of gets by with guts and guile and a little bit of Vaseline on his chest. But that's good for me. That Thursday Night Football as a product is a bit of a devalued operation, although they've gotten a lot better. So, like, Al's a good fit for me, and I just enjoy hearing his voice because I know we won't hear it forever. But, like, I see the Al criticism week after week, and I know I was seeing it pop up again. But I'm like, I'm out. Like, you go have at it. That's all.
Yeah. So I actually am like, I'm more just noticing this in him as a person. Like, I'm with you in the sense that, you know, we come from a similar world where, like, the Al Michaels was the dominant voice. And so I'm kind of impressed he's still doing it at all. And I think he's still competent. But my example would be when it's clearly someone fed him like a next-gen stats, number. And he's like, making fun of he's like, he's like my generation. We're the last, I'm the last generation. So, he got that. And I think what I notice is that, because Kirk Herbstreit is so polite, and I don't know what the word would be, kind of genial, and he's the guy that's like, this young player, this young man is an important person, and like Al Michaels just doesn't fully want to deal with Kirk Herbstreit's anti-cynicism, his glowing love of life, and like I think Al Michaels is like, get me to the steakhouse. I want 3 drinks laced together, one after the next, and I want a massive steak, and it better happen in the next 45 minutes. Why is this game still happening? Are you playing on Underdog yet? There's so many ways to get in on the action, whether it's higher, lower, pick'em entries, daily drafts, or season-long tournaments. And it's not just the NFL. The NBA is back. You've got NHL, college sports, so many options. So don't miss out. Just scan the QR code on your screen to download and play on the Underdog app. Or if you're not watching on YouTube, sign up with the code HTC, our show, and you can receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. Make the most of your sports fandom by playing along on Underdog. For our U.S. audience only.
The search for truth never ends. Introducing June's Journey, a hidden object mobile game with a captivating story. Connect with friends, explore the Roaring '20s, and enjoy thrilling activities and challenges while supporting environmental causes. After 7 years, the adventure continues with our immersive travels feature. Explore distant cultures and engage in exciting experiences. There's always something new to discover. Are you ready? Download June's Journey now on Android or iOS.
Yeah. Now, if we're going to talk Al, I'll say a couple things. First of all, he's turning 80 this week. God bless him.
Yep.
Number two,
his star on the Walk of Fame is just like about a block from where I live, and I walk over it all the time. And like, I'm with you. I dig him. You know,
he was a legend 25 years ago. I mean, this guy is an all timer. I see a tweet here because he's trending. Al Thomas Casale tweeted, "Someone should tell Al Michaels that sports betting is legal now, and the NFL is partners with sports books. He can actually just tell everyone what the spread is instead of casually alluding to it like it's 1995." It's a good point. When he does it now, it doesn't have the same I don't know,
mystery.
Like, it's not that little wink between us and Al that used to, but I don't know if he even knows that. So same thing. My theory that's been percolating about Jerry Jones, like, what does Jerry actually know and what's being kept from him? We don't know. Finally, my favorite Al moment of the night was Amazon's been pimping hard this like show Cross. It's some type of detective action thriller. And I'll play this for you. Yeah, I'm going to play this for you. It's Al reading the copy, and then Herb Street, who only seems marginally checked in on a weekly basis.
Well, that's fair. Like, and he's 50 years younger.
You could sometimes like hear him scrolling to see his flight information to what college football university he's going to be flying to that night. Here is my favorite part of the telecast.
So, Kirk, make sure you're ready for the ultimate cat and mouse edge of your seat crime thriller. James Patterson's Detective Alex Cross, like you've never seen it before. New series Cross streaming now. And don't you forget, only on Prime Video. All right. Of course.
Kirk. All right. Kirk's like, he's like, I'm already halfway to Tuscaloosa right now. Like, so, I don't need to be. It's not in my contract. Anyway.
I don't need to just be discussing these dramas, these crime narratives, that I'll never watch.
Any other thoughts about the game? But did you, just to cycle back, were you okay with Quinn eschewing the field goal there? And because the game kind of ended at that point, because it was like a tidal wave. I was cool with it, just because, I don't know, man, maybe it's just the echo of how awesome the Washington Commanders offense has been for most of the season. It's just like, all right, go for it. Go win this game. Don't put it on your kicker's foot and hope your defense gets a stop. But again, it's been a pretty tough 5 days with the offense just looking pretty locked in neutral. So I get the criticism that Quinn got.
I don't have a problem with it at all. To be honest, like I'm with you with what you just said, and like it's just kind of like the biorhythm of the season. It's crazy, like where we were 2 weeks ago with the Commanders, and like now we're here, and they're a playoff team, but like I do think that the key question and the puzzle to solve is what is going on with your quarterback's health, because we looked at someone who was one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the entire league, and something's happening here. And I go back to Palmer's tweet and just wonder, is he playing through something? He's certainly shown that, unlike some players, like he's like, I'm going to play no matter what. But I think that's trust in your quarterback. That's why you make that decision. But he may be compromised physically in a way that would be a concern down the stretch for at least a couple more weeks.
Who's their backup? I have an idea.
Marcus Mariota.
All right, so you got Mariota. I'm no Mariota guy, but he's at least a.
But he came in. He
entity.
did come in that one game and like actually looked fantastic, which was surprising to me.
This is a team that has aspirations. Like that's why they traded for Marcus Lattimore, who, keep that in mind. He hasn't played yet. He's still dealing with a hamstring, and he's going to make a big difference for them when the time comes. You have a 10-day break, and then you get the Dallas Cowboys, who are one of the worst teams in football at this point. Would you consider giving this guy a proper break and put Mariota in for that game? I think it's worth considering if indeed he's really struggling and fighting through something, because you're not trying to just sneak into the playoffs. You're not trying to go 9-8 or 10-7. Like, this team thinks it has the chance to make a deep run in the playoffs, but you absolutely need Daniels to be healthy. So you have the Cowboys on 11-24, and then you have the Titans on 12-1. So it's a soft part of the schedule. Then they're at the Saints before they get the Eagles again on 12-22. So the schedule softens up for them here, and they can perhaps think about how they want to handle that with their quarterback, because when he was healthy and firing on all cylinders, granted, if I'm going to say it about the Eagles, I got to say it about the Commanders too, against a soft schedule, he was just dominant. you need him to get back to that place if you have any hopes of making a real run this season. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. And the Eagles are now in absolute command of the NFC East and are playing their best football. So good night for the Eagles. I'm not ready to put them in my top 3 or whatever, Mark, because I need to watch all the games. But that's just me as a power ranker.
It's top 5 though, right? Because like I would just say they close tonight with a field goal, touchdown. Yeah. So like, well, what? Yes. So if it's 4 and 3, we're not really in that different of a place.
Yeah. Are they better than Lions, Chiefs, Ravens, Bills in your mind? Are they in that group? Do you think they deserve that place? Maybe they do. Maybe you're right.
Well, I think you're right to say that, like, to make that decision tonight. But like, if the Ravens were to botch the operation against the Steelers, I've got Ravens questions just about who they are.
Fair.
So, you know,
and I did mention 4 teams there, and 3 are in the AFC. So the Eagles are set up really well. The Lions are a juggernaut. Yeah. The 49ers are obviously the team of intrigue. The Eagles have proven now to me that, at least in the here and now, they're a better team than the Commanders. The Vikings have come down a little bit. The Packers are a bit of an enigma. The Cardinals are interesting, but the NFC is there for the Eagles to make a deep run if they could stay healthy. So a good night for the Eagles and their fans. And what else do you need to hear from me, Eagles fans? I don't want any tweets at me or like any like subreddit threads about how I hate the Eagles. It's like, you had a nice night. I was impressed. I'm happy for you guys. Big Dom. I saw Big Dom at one point. Like Jalen Hurts, after he was almost concussed or potentially concussed, he was on the bike, cycling on the bike before the third quarter start. And as he got off the bike, Big Dom held the bike even just so it wouldn't tip over. That's cool. I'm glad he did that. Like,
what do you think? Good job, guys. What do you think that now we're about an hour out from the game ending? Like, what do you think Big Dom? Where is he, 30 minutes from now? What does Big Dom do after an Eagles win? I don't even want to ask the question.
He's feasting. And God bless him.
I think he's feasting.
He's a man with a healthy appetite, and I would imagine he's having some incredible Italian food from one of the best delis in Philly. Like, he knows all the spots, all the Italian restaurants and delis.
Does he just drink 3 bottles of red wine too, and maybe
I think so.
Punch out a civilian on the street?
It doesn't sound bad.
Right. No,
I don't think he punches out. Maybe evildoers, if there's an evildoer.
Sure.
I think Dom is a force of good. I would think.
Well, yeah. Okay.
See, that's Mark that's questioning it. What? Dan is saying Dom's a good dude. Mark is leaving the door open. So if you want to get after somebody about the Eagles tonight, get after Mark. Or get after Justin, because he got a little heavy-handed with the drops earlier in the show.
Yeah, I'd say go Justin.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the right target here. I think Justin, who's been a divisive force through the first part of the show. Let
Justin
him hear
is
about
on
it.
acid right now.
All right, should we go?
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Justin has been an asset to us, man.
Go ahead, Justin. Hit 3 more drops, and then I'm going to sign off. Any 3 drops you want.
Jalen Hurts is a winner. He's a winner. He wins.
Okay, there's 1. I got balls here. I got big balls. I'm Nick Sirianni. It's 2.
Wait, I pulled a new Mark drop from today's show. Which one was it? Oh, yes. It's this one.
It's fiction.
Okay. All right. On that note, we'll see you on Sunday with the flagship program. Make sure you check it out. Patreon.com/heedthecall for our Week 11 draft. I Dream in Red, the Throwback Podcast, Rolling Thunder, all on the Patreon. And yes, we're trying to get to that big number. 48.4 on YouTube. This show is different than the old show. Well, it's better than the old show, and you know that.
I think it is.
But it's also a far, far better produced video production, which is why I think you should absolutely be on YouTube checking this program out. So youtube.com/@heedthecallpod. Anything else? Nailed
that was
it.
Such a clean ending. I think we just end it right there. Although then I spoke.
All right. Okay.
Bye.
Till next time, heed the call.